This is Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox.
And we're back with you on this week's edition of Financial Straight Talk alongside Jim Fox of Wadadley Financial Group. Kevin McAlpin here with you. Jim, we were talking off air here a few minutes ago. You're sort of a comedy lover like I am as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just anything that gets me away from all the reality. That's why I love comedy. I mean, for that 30 minutes, an hour, wherever you're at, man, you get to just chuckle and laugh and be in that zone only. I love it.
Well, it kind of ties in because I know this is a comedian that you saw here recently. Wanted to play a piece of sound for you, get your reaction. I think you're probably going to enjoy this one as much as I did here recently. Comedian Sebastian Maniscalco. He's on a U.S. tour. You actually saw him here recently as well.
Yeah, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 months ago at the Hard Rock. Yeah, it was really funny, man. Really funny guy.
Well, his tour not only took him through Florida, but also had a stop in New York City here recently. And he had a chance to visit an iconic landmark, and he had quite a interesting response when he saw it up close and personal.
In 1930, the Empire State Building started construction. It took 1 year to build this place. It took 2 years to remodel my kitchen. What the hell happened with construction over the last 90 years? Speed it up.
Hey, anybody that's gone through a remodel, we did it a couple years ago. I can confirm.
Horrendous.
Man, it took 7 months to redo my kitchen and living room. It took the Empire State Building a year. That's really incredible, isn't it?
It really is. And there's a bunch of things we're doing, but one of them was we had to put a new French door in the back. So it's, gotten old and rotted a little bit around the door frame. So we're going to double pane, hurricane impact, blah, blah, all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, what's a French door? Come in a day, knock it out. Well, a day to get it installed, then another day to get it kind of balanced, whatever they're doing, then another day to paint it, and then another day. I'm like, how long does it take to put a door in? I mean, this is a door. I swear to you, it is. And it's like, these guys aren't getting paid by the hour at this point. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I want to build a house, but I can never build a house because I'm not willing to go through the trouble, man, for that reason alone.
And it seems like it's always the punch list stuff right at the very end where it just kind of drags and you just want to get it, wrapped up. And we did our kitchen and our living room in the middle of an Atlanta summer 3 years ago when I had a 1-year-old daughter. Thinking? And I don't know. And I said, if I see one more DoorDash or Uber Eats pull up to the house, I'm going to lose my mind because I didn't have a kitchen for 7 weeks. It was,
oh my God, yes.
So don't do that. If I can give one piece of advice, especially in your part of the world, we're dealing without air conditioning and running water for a while. Yeah, that would make for a long summer in Florida, wouldn't it?
Absolutely never going to happen.
Well, hey, I thought that this soundbite was kind of interesting because much like construction timelines can stretch out a lot longer than expected, Jim, we know that folks' retirement can often last a lot longer than they expect, setting off some fears, some concerns that they may run out of money. So I ask you, Jim Fox, what are some things you can do to help your clients and our listeners here today make sure they're prepared for a long and I think more importantly, secure retirement future?
One of the things we used to say all the time, Kevin, on air was retirement is the longest vacation you're ever going to take.
Yeah.
If you do it right, it literally is the longest, and it's the most expensive, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to make sure that you've got a really good plan. Again, we're coming back, seek plan. How many times do you hear me say plan in a day, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things we talk about when we're planning is that income plan, because that income is really ultimately what we're talking about, income coming through the door. So how do you create sources of income in retirement? And then more importantly, what happens if you say, my family, they're country folk, right? They typically don't live past their, sometimes late 60s into their early 70s. But Grandma Fox lived to 83, right? Grandma Moore, well, she lived to 88.
Wow.
So I might live a whole lot longer. So you don't want to plan to 75 and then 74 go, well, I'm in great health and I'm out of money, right? So this is the balance. This is why you plan for income needs. And I always tell people we really should plan out to 90 or 95. I think that's and I'm talking about steady income. You won't spend steady income all the way out to 95. You'll spend less as you get older, which pushes that date even further out. So one of the big ones that everyone for the most part deals with is when to take your Social Security. And if you look at it, there's an argument. You take it at 62. Do you take it at 66 or 67? Do you take it at 70? And I always tell people it's the single hardest decision for me to help you make is when to take Social Security. right? Because there's pros and cons to every decision. So we sit down and we look at that, and we want to make sure that we're utilizing Social Security when it makes sense, because if you supplement your income with Social Security, it means that you need to use less of your own hard-earned dollars, right?
Right.
That's the benefit. So taking Social Security is a big one. Another thing is, if you do have a pension, you're very fortunate and that kind of rolls for you. But let's say that you're trying to replicate or create your own version of a pension. People use annuities. So when should you turn on the annuity income? That's another important story you have to figure out. Is it based on joint life? Is it single life? How do they do? Is it life? I mean, there's so many pieces of this puzzle that you have to figure out. So you have Social Security benefits. You have annuity benefits if you got them. You know, one of the things they talk about here is purchasing long-term care. Guys, I don't sell long-term care in my office, but I think it's probably one of the most misunderstood and misused things that are out there. Because the reality is, the only people for the majority of us listening that could get affordable long-term care is Kevin. Okay. Because Kevin's the youngest in the room right now. So Kevin, the last thing Kevin needs to do is write a check every month for long-term care insurance. So Kevin says, I'm not doing that. That's a waste of money. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're 63 years old and you go, well, I've got all this money. I should get some long-term care. And then you have a heart attack because you get the price of So you have to have what I like to call long-term care planning or long-term care alternatives. But you got to think through that stuff. The other thing that matters when we're looking at all this mess that is a timeline is volatility. Kevin, we're dealing with a lot of volatility. Just came through an election. We got things going on over in Iran and Israel. We got the Ukraine and Russia. And now North Korea is coming over. I mean, you've got all this weird stuff that's happening, and it's creating volatility in the markets, right? Mm-hmm. One minute Boeing's plummeting, the next minute it's skyrocketing. I mean, Tesla, depending on what Elon, tweets, the next thing you know, he's through the roof, he's to the bottom. I mean, this is the mess that is retirement. So you've got all these pieces that screw up your timelines. And I hate to be cliche and do this, but the reality is if you don't have a plan, you don't know how to handle this. See, what's so great about this, and John, I love John. John Bertrand works for me. He's one of my advisors, and he's such a great guy. I mean, he's old school, right? He's 67 years old. And, Kevin, this is before you came over from the Braves, but there was a day the market dropped like 1,000 points in a day. Do you remember that like a month ago?
I do,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I come through the door. And I mean, it's 7:30 in the morning and John is pinging, ping, ping. Oh my God, the market's all freaking out, right? I'm like, calm down, John. What's going on? Markets are in free fall. I was like, we build plans for this reason, right? Like we make sure that our clients who need income can get the income if the markets go up or down. And the people that don't need income, the volatility isn't something that matters to them because they don't need to sell to generate an income. So when you have a good plan, guess what? You don't have to worry about the day-to-day movements of the markets and the volatility. And that plan, it pretty much breaks down the timeline of retirement. When do I turn on Social Security? When do I start those annuity premiums? When do I maybe start taking money out of my 401k or my IRAs for the RMDs? Does it make sense to wait till 72 or 73, or should I take them earlier to reduce the RMD needs further down the road? See, guys, it's as simple as this. Kevin, you're not going to start. Have you ever been to a place called Berea, Kentucky? Does that sound familiar?
I've never been. No.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Now there's no Waze or GPS. If I was to tell you, Kevin, if you make it to Berea, Kentucky in the next 7 hours, I've got $100,000 in a briefcase. All you have to do is meet me at Town Hall in Berea, Kentucky. I'm going to give it to you. There's no Waze. There's no nothing. What's the first thing that you're going to do? Think old school. You're going to reach for a what?
I'm going to go for a map. I'm going to go to AAA and get a map is what I'm going to do.
And once you have that map, you're going to find what? Berea, Kentucky.
First I have to figure out how to spell it.
Exactly. And then you're going to say, this is my fastest route there. Mm-hmm. Why is it that we go into retirement? Right now, so many people listen to me go into retirement without a map. They don't have a map. Now, I don't call it a map. I used to call it a retirement map back in the day, but it's a plan. That plan is what we do, and it breaks down everything. It breaks down Social Security. What happens if you die? What happens if your wife dies? What happens if you guys get sick? What happens if you have a special needs child that we have to deal with? What happens if one of your grandkids get sick and you need to pull $100,000 out of an account to pay for a treatment that maybe isn't covered by insurance? These are the things that we do in our plans each and every day based on your needs. My point is, so many of you think you have a plan because you have a 401k, an IRA, a Roth, $250,000 in a CD, whatever nonsense you fill in the blank. You think you have a plan. You have ingredients of a plan, but you don't know how to put them together. The single most difficult thing to do in retirement is to create income generation. Most people don't get it because most people don't spend the time or energy trying to make sense of it. I don't care what your timeline is. It could be 20 years. It could be 35 years. We use mathematics. We use common sense and a little bit of financial straight talk to make sure that we create plans that are customized and built around you and your family's needs. There is no hype. There is no BS. There is no sizzle and selling you a bunch of stuff you don't need. We believe in that military acronym, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. We want to have plans that you can write on a napkin and understand how they're going to work for you. That's what we do each and every day. And for those of you that are sitting out there right now saying you have a plan, why don't you come on in and let us compare it to what we would do? And if you don't have a plan, even more importantly, pick up that phone and give us a call. My team is standing by to get you into this office, and you can come through and we'll make sure that you get the information you need. Regardless of if you decide to become a client or not, you are going to have a better understanding of what you need to do to make the right decisions in retirement.
Visit them online anytime at getfst.com. You want to get that financial straight talk? It's not just the name of the radio show. It's also what you're going to get when you reach out to Jim and his team at Wadadley Financial Group. Again, getfst.com. Jim, his team are standing by to start those conversations with you, answer questions you may have, and again, just get the ball rolling and hopefully set you on the way to a long and, more importantly, successful retirement journey. All right, Jim, we got about a minute left in this week's show, and as always, we're going to give you the floor for the final word, my friend.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, guys, every week, Kevin and I want to thank you. We know that you have tons of options when it comes to getting financial information, and we're just honored to be one of those resources. So like you said, if there's anything we can do for you, don't hesitate. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. My team is standing by to help you right now. But on behalf of myself and Mr. Kevin Mack himself, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Financial Straight Talk.
Thanks for listening to Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox. To learn more, visit getfst.com.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Wadadley Financial Group. Wadadley Financial Group is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Wadadley Financial Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Wadadley Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any government agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Wadadley Financial Group.